Hello, everybody. Today we're going to talk about the cost of living in Greater Vancouver and Lower Mainland now in 2026. Here is something many people don't realize about the cost of living in Greater Vancouver. It's not only the price of a home that surprises people, it's the everyday expenses that slowly add up. I'm Yaoska Climaco, and I help individuals and family understand the real estate market here in Greater Vancouver and Lower Mainland. Over the years, I have helped many people move to this beautiful but often expensive part of British Columbia. Today, we're going to talk about the real cost of living here in 2026, from housing to groceries, so you can decide if moving here makes sense or not for you. By the way, if you're thinking in moving to Greater Vancouver, I get calls, emails every day from people just like you, and I truly enjoy helping. So, whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, feel free to call me, send me a text or an email. There is a link below in the description where you can schedule a free call with me. No pressure, just an honest advice. Now, let's start with the biggest cost for most people: housing. Yes. When people talk about the cost of living in Greater Vancouver, housing is usually the first thing they think about, and for good reasons. It is expensive. But prices can change a lot depending whether you rent or buy and which city you choose. Let's start with renting. For a nice bedroom apartment in a popular area like downtown Vancouver, Silano, which is really beautiful, you will usually pay between 2,300 and 3,000 per month. If you move little further, like in Burnaby or Surrey, prices might drop around 2,000 to 2,400 per month. But there is still a lot of competition. So now let's talk about buying. The average detached home price in Greater Vancouver is close to 2 million. However, this number is higher because of very expensive areas like West Vancouver, North Vancouver. Places like Langley or Maple Ridge, beautiful area, detached homes can sometimes be found between 1.2 million and 1.6 million. Of course, condos are usually the most affordable options for buyers. In central area, the average price is around 800,000 to 950,000. In more suburban areas, condos can be between 600,000 and 750,000. What many people don't realize is the purchase price is only the beginning. Property taxes, strata fee, and mortgage interest can add a lot to your monthly cost. I had a client recently moved from Ontario who was very surprised just by the property tax and differences. Okay, beside housings, every expenses in Greater Vancouver can also be surprising, especially if you are moving from a small city or another part of Canada. Let's start with groceries. A family of four can easily spend between 1,200 and 1,500 per month on food. If you buy organic products or specialty items, the cost can be even higher. Compared to a city like Calgary, groceries here might cost about 15 to 20% more. Utilities, not as expensive as housing, but they still add up. For a typical two-bedroom condos, electricity and internet together might cost around 130 to 220 per month, depending on the building and the internet plant you choose. Heating, with gas may add another 50 to 100 depending on the season and the building, of course. Okay, transportation is another important cost. Vancouver has a good public transit, but many people still use a car, especially in the larger lower mainland areas. Gas prices here are usually among the highest in Canada and often range between $1.60 and $1.80 per liter. Although prices can sometimes get close to $2 per liter. Let's talk about car insurance. In British Columbia, it's also more expensive than in many other provinces. Many drivers pay hundreds of dollars more each year compared to other parts of Canada. Now, if you use public transit, a monthly transit pass, a TransLink pass usually costs between 100 to 180, depending on the zone you travel in. This is why planning where you live and how you commute is very important when thinking about your monthly budget. Now, let's talk about some costs that many people don't think about right away. Taxes and what many people call the Vancouver Premium. In British Columbia, there is a 7% provisional sales tax plus 5% federal GST. This means that many purchases, including a total tax of 12%. Another cost when buying a home is the property transfer tax. This tax is paid when you buy a property and can be tens of thousands of dollars depending on the price of the home. Now, income taxes in British Columbia can also be higher compared to some other provinces, especially for higher incomes. Okay, but there is also something less official that people call the Vancouver Premium. Many everyday things simply cost more here. For example, a cup of coffee, a restaurant meal, even a haircut can cost a few dollars more than in other Canadian cities. Over the time, this small extra cost can add up to thousands of dollars per year. To really understand what I'm talking about here, the cost of living in Greater Vancouver, it helps to compare it with other larger cities in Canada. So let's do it. For example, the average detached home in Toronto might cost around 1.3 to 1.5 million. That is still expensive, but lower than Vancouver average, about 2 million. In cities like Calgary or Edmonton, detached home might cost roughly around 500,000 to 800,000, which is a very big differences. Even when renting a one bedroom apartment in Montreal might cost around 1,600 to 1,700, which is still much lower than Vancouver. Groceries in Greater Vancouver or Vancouver area generally similar to Toronto, but often more expensive than in the Superior provinces or Atlantic Canada. The biggest difference between Vancouver and most other cities is still housing. A salary that feels comfortable in another cities might feel much tighter in Vancouver. So that's in an honest look at the real cost of living in Greater Vancouver and the Lower Mainland in 2026, this year. It is an incredible, beautiful place to live, but it does require a strong financial plan. If you found this video helpful, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more insight into the Greater Vancouver real estate market. And remember, if you're thinking about making a move to this incredible region, I'm here to help you navigate every step of the process. Thank you so much. And please give me a call if you need more info. Bye bye.